So, welcome back. Stop Settling. Here we are again. And today's mission is to share with you where all this came from, the genesis and the origination of the Stop Settling mindset, method, and movement. So, let me start with the mindset. After leading a corporate lifestyle for about 24 years, it really dawned on me after managing, mentoring, training, developing thousands of people in the HR, contingent, human capital, staffing space. So that covers sort of the gambit for all of you that may not be clear on what all those are by themselves. I've given you a whole list of things to think about in terms of my career. It really dawned on me that people are settling, mostly unconsciously, including myself. So there's this mindset that I want people to understand as sort of the first rung to what is it that needs to shift in order to lead a life that isn't settling, or in some cases is settling down or compromising or trading things off. And one of the questions that I've asked throughout my career as I've gotten to know teams and led companies has to do with freeing your mind, opening your mindset to possibilities, getting rid of barriers, even if it's for a moment. So think about this for a second. If you had an endless bucket of money and a magic wand, what would you start right now? What would you stop? Every time I've asked that question, as I've gotten to know people in career in particular, but also in friendships and family, my kids, drives them a little crazy. Sorry, girls. What people have said to me is, well, I don't really know what you mean, personal or professional. Well, yes, both. And here's the one that really was my wake-up call to doing something about the way people lead their lives, starting with me. Do you mean, Dana, work or life? And I sat back and I thought, I don't know what you mean, work or life. Isn't life the wrapper around things like work and friends and family and your community? The way you lead your life, isn't it an aspect of the overall life game plan? But when people say to me things like, do you mean work or life? I start getting a little crazy because it's like, wait a minute. Are you talking about work-life balance? Don't start with me on that. No offense to all the incredible public domain figures that talk about work-life balance and leaning in and having your all and be your all and you can do it all and all of that stuff. I think it's a myth. And I will tell you personally, I was a single mom for a decade. I had a lot of help. I was not a single mom that worked 3 jobs to put kids through school who watched each other while I went and did those 3 jobs. I had one big corporate career and I did a lot of travel. I had the same nanny for 10 years. It's really hard to be a single mom and to have your all and be your all and not have things like guilt or trade-offs or constant feeling of running like a hamster in a wheel, running into corporate and out of corporate and into home life and back to corporate. And once in a while friends and once in a while dating and once in a while giving back and volunteering. And once in a while, hopefully more than that, getting to work out or going to the gym or taking a walk. So it's this constant cycle of I need more, I'll have more, I'll be more. And it's this constant hamster in a wheel cycle that men and women throughout my entire career have shared with me doesn't really work. And I know it didn't work for me. And I'm pretty sure it's not working for you, which is why you're listening to this today. So think about work-life balance and blow that notion up as if it were a myth. There is no such thing. Because if you achieve work-life balance, I'm here to tell you it's fleeting, it's momentary. And if you think of, picture this, a hamster in a wheel running and running and running the circle. Career, family, career, family. And all of a sudden, you take that hamster in a wheel and you sit that hamster in a wheel on top of a teeter-totter. You know what I'm talking about. And it's going like this. It's like a circus. And that hamster is exhausted running in that wheel. But for a fleeting moment, the hamster hits perfect balance and the teeter-totter is flat. And the hamster in the wheel stops. And it is a moment of bliss and glory. almost never to be done again or replicated, because it's a myth. It's fleeting, it's momentary, and it's almost impossible to achieve. And when you do, it's literally a nanosecond, and then you're back at it in the wheel and balancing and figuring all that out, exhausting yourself in the process, shortchanging yourself in the process, probably shortchanging your company, not because you're trying to, but because you're just exhausted. Too many masters, too many high bars, too many shoulds. Where does this all come from? So the reality is the mindset needs to shift. It's a mental shift. It's a shift dynamic. It's actually beyond mental. If you're going to blow up this notion with me that work-life balance is a myth, and in fact, there are most things you could have right now without an endless bucket of money or a magic wand. The answers to those questions thousands of times has created these patterns and trends in my mind and now in my method, which moves us from mindset to method.